Okay, hello everyone and welcome to Extreme Graphics Tech. My name is Angelo. Well, today I'm going to be talking about my first impression for Final Fantasy 16. And I know it's not what I normally talk in the channel, but seeing as I don't have that much tech content at the moment coming, I thought, well, you know, why don't talk about video games too, and what I play and what I don't play, what I like. So I thought this could be a fun video for you guys and for me to share about Final Fantasy. I have to begin saying that the images you're seeing is not from my own gameplay, it's from IGN, because I didn't thought I was going to make a video about this, but then I wanted to share my thoughts on the game, so unfortunately I didn't record my gameplay of the demo. However, I also want to say that I am a big fan of the Final Fantasy saga. I have played all of them from beginning to end, from Final Fantasy 1 to Final Fantasy 15, not the two online versions of the game, fortunately, because they are not my thing, but however, every other game I have played when it comes to the numeral versions of the game. So I have played some spin-off, but are not all of them. But I have played all the numeral Final Fantasies. So, having said that, let me give you my impressions divided in 4 areas, which are music, history, combat, and graphics. Okay, so let's start with the music. If you are an old Final Fantasy gamer, you have played all the games. When the game starts, you know you are going to recognize some of the interconnected melodies between the new melodies. So that is a thing that I love, because I immediately was put into Final Fantasy mood. But this is not, they are not like the main theme. They are part of the main theme, but the main theme is something completely new that has interconnected with the old melodies. And I love that, because it shows that there is respect for the old music, but this composer is also trying to bring his own thing. And I love what the new music sounds like, because it's, you know, it's powerful, it's slow when it has to be, but it also pumps you up when it needs to. So I love that, and I love the fact that between those music you can hear some of the old music, putting you into the mood of Final Fantasy, and, you know, giving you that old vibe and those nostalgic feelings if you are an old Final Fantasy game. So that put me in a very good mood, and I already was like, yeah, I am in Final Fantasy territory. Of course, I haven't heard everything, because it's only like a 2-hour long demo that I was able to play, but when the 22 comes, we're going to be playing the full game, and then I will probably know more about the music, and, you know, listen to the main theme and things like that, and, you know, have a overall opinion of how good the music is. However, in these first hour, I have to say that what I heard, I just loved it. As for the story, so, you know, I see a lot of people criticizing many things, saying it's too adult, this is not a Final Fantasy, that Final Fantasy tends to be in some way or this way, and I don't think Final Fantasy tends to be in any way. I think Final Fantasy is just like a snapshot of the time they were released. So the Final Fantasy 4 2 in America at the time was a very mature, or was considered a very mature game for consoles. We have to remember that there were also games on PC, and PC was normally a more mature system when it came to stories, because PC were considered more of an adult entertainment. It was entertainment for adults, even though of course many children play with it, but normally, you know, Super Nintendo and console is where children were playing. So Final Fantasy IV at the time was like very mature story, and that was consolidated with the Final Fantasy VI in America came. So over the year, we have seen the story develop, and, you know, be part of what the collectives of that time is. So I think Final Fantasy 16 is just showing the evolution of the media. Now Final Fantasy dares to be more adult, dares to have a more, you know, ground story, even though it's always fantastic and medieval in this case. So magic and all of this, you know, you can have a very well thought, mature story with like Game of Thrones. Still have you know, a story that is good for a video game. So in this case, I think obviously they have to take some inspirations from the sort of ways that Game of Thrones tells the story. In fact, in the first 2 hours, I am already hooked with what's going on, and we have seen some very adult situations, and not adult necessarily because there is some sexual innuendos happening that normally they are not so explicit in other Final Fantasies, but I'm explicit, I don't mean anything sexual, but more the intentionality of the characters. So I don't think that's the only thing that makes a game adult. It's not about sex, it's also about the fact that they are, you know, trying to create these situations and more adult themes and things happening, responsibility and other things that we have seen before, like sacrifice and in all the Final Fantasy games. But in this in particular, I think that they are aiming for a more political kind of medieval thriller. So I think it's going to be very good, and I am already hooked with what's happening. We have some jumps in times in the game that put you in some situation and allows you to see some things in different perspectives, so you understand where it's going. And after these 2 hours of demo, I really want to keep playing, because at least for now, I don't know if the game is going to be able to hold. I don't know. I don't want to talk in advance. But however, for the last first 2 hours, this has already hooked me up. I think it's very important, because the first half an hour of a movie is important for to hook the view, the person watching it. It's like a series. It needs to hook you up quickly. Like, I see 2 episodes and I want to see more. Like, for example, Lost. I watched Lost at the time, and the first episode was enough for me to watch the rest of the series. And I think it's very important, and this has done it. At least the demo has done it for me. The combat. Obviously, the combat is now a very different beast. It's no longer a turn-based combat as it was before, but I don't think that turn-based has been a thing for a while in the Final Fantasy series, at least since 12. Then we have Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 15, and they were not really turn-based combat, especially 12 and 15. And they started to evolve. Now we have Final Fantasy 7 Remake and Rebirth that are not, a real time, and so the combat has changed. Essentially now it's real time. However, I won't say it's an action RPG, but I will say it looks more like a Tales game, sort of like a Ni no Kuni in some way. But it's not, or a Kingdom Hearts. But it's not like, a full-on Devil May Cry where you have to be this crazy guy having to press 300 buttons and making crazy combinations. At least not at the beginning. I don't know, maybe the way when you advance, you're going to get more and more of these and you're going to get better. But I think it's a game that, it's not as fast-paced as some people wanted to make it look, at least not from my point of view. I think it's a game, you have your button to get close, your button to, evasive maneuver. You have some cinematic moments during the combat, like to block or attack, and give you some spectacular results. And you have the magic and other options, but I don't think any of them are really like super fast-paced combat. I think it's a real-time combat. Is entertaining enough, and anyone can play, especially because you have some help if you want to, which are you use in a ways like accessories that you can put that will do some stuff automatically for you, so you can make it easier if you are someone who doesn't want to invest too much into the combat. Also, there is the combat of the icons, which are the old summons that play a bigger role in this story, and they don't seem to be just a summon that comes, attack and goes. But when you get into icons, you are going to find as an icon, and normally you are going to be fighting another icon, or that is what it seems, at least from this demo. So I don't know what's going to happen after, but that's the impression I got. So you have 2 different ways of combat, and I guess you cannot call them when you want, but they will become part of the story as you progress and have some active role during the story. So finally, the graphics, where a lot of people have some issues with, and they have commented here and there that the game is not stable. I play in the resolution mode at 30 FPS. I have to say I felt very stable. It didn't feel janky or anything. So sometimes 30 FPS is not good. So I'm not sure, but I played no problems whatsoever on resolution mode. I didn't feel it was slow or anything like that. So for me, that was okay. I don't know if there is any slowdown because I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't doing like a tech analysis or anything. So I'm not quite sure I ever felt that the game was running slow. Maybe it happens during cinematics and I didn't care. So I'm not quite sure what to say there. Graphically, from my point of view, the game is quite impressive when it comes to environment, the castles, the expansive views that you have, the amount of NPCs that you see fighting, and the destruction and particles and the combat and lightning and all of this is very impressive. So I really like that part of it. For some people, the character model is not that good. I don't think they are bad at all. I just think they're going for a specific stylish kind of style. So it's not going to be for everyone. Some people, I think it's more anime, more trying to be like true to previews, and you know, like this is the representation of the characters the way we envisioned them like 25 years ago when we were doing Final Fantasy IV or something like that. So it seems more in that line, like they are trying to respect the original characters in that sense. So they are not ultra realistic in that term, but they look quite good in what they're trying to achieve, which is this combination between like very realistic game environment with this sort of stylistic character choice. So they look quite good to me. If I have to criticize a couple of things, I would say that one, I didn't like the water. I feel it's very flat. It's like just a polygon, a texture there, and there is no interaction other than some shader and maybe some splashes that kind of happens with the water, but there is no water deformation or anything, which looks quite dated. So in that sense, I didn't like that part, I have to be honest. I feel this is something that many Japanese studios tend to forget, you know, the way the water react or use these old techniques that don't mix very well with how good everything else looks. And also some animation, they still feel very video gaming for a game that is pointing to that, you know, kind of cinematic quality. When you get to a point where they tell you to press a couple of buttons to like break you know, an obstacle, and then all you see is this like a swing of the sword, and then the thing just breaks in non-realistic way and just disappears. It doesn't seem quite you know, good for me. I would prefer like a proper animation where they remove the obstacle, or if it breaks, you know, it breaks and it stays there or something, because that some of the animations are a little bit junky in general. So that I would like to see improved, but I don't think, because that's probably what they were pointing for. So in general, what do I think of Final Fantasy 16? Where, to be honest, I have to say I do love the game. What I see, I want to play more. I already pre-ordered many months ago the special edition of the game, not the collectors, the special edition, because I am a big fan. But now after playing this, and you know, I like 15, but it's not the best game in the series. For sure, I think this one could be one of the best. I think they are doing a great job. They are taking Final Fantasy into the future and trying to make it, you know, important again. It's a franchise that has lost esteem, and I hope this is able, together with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, to bring the franchise to what it meant in the 90s on consoles. So happily we're going to be there. This game is going to show, and it's going to be a big contender for Game of the Year. So that's my opinion on Final Fantasy 16. I hope you like it, and as usual, if you like the video, subscribe, press the like button, and see you on the next one.